Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to change the landscape of podcasting as you know it in professional wrestling. This is the Game Changer Podcast. Featuring the greatest asset to come out of Canada, the legendary Mr. Fretz.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best ever will be.
I love myself. There's something so condescending to the champ to get out of my ring.
They think they got the answers. I change the questions. I did it all by my sweet little self. Two-time Slammy Award winner. I knew it. I'm a winner. I did it. Woo!
As well as featuring yours truly, the Game Changer, NateFNGreat.
I've had it. It's time for you to start listening to somebody else, and that somebody else is going to be me, and it's going to be right now. The dirty secret is you need this generation more than it needs you. You're not going to come out here and talk about how it should have been you, it should have been me, it should have been you, it should have been you, it should have been you, it should have been you 8 years ago, and it was kind of, then it wasn't, and it's not going to be again, and it's not going to happen. Just get over it. I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary. Nobody can touch me.
We change the game one day at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready, let's do this.
Hey everyone, it's the Princess of Pro Wrestling, SoCal Mal. You are listening to the Game Changer Podcast. Sending lots of love from California. Mwah.
One and only.
This is just, in all honesty, guys, a very unique but also a very great week for professional wrestling. It's just absolutely insane. All the stuff that is going on. This is on the road to WrestleMania, on the road to AEW Revolution. So much happening. Hello and welcome to the Game Changer Podcast, a part of Wrestle Addict Radio. I am indeed your host, NateFNGreat. Mr. Fretz has the night off. And guys, it's just absolutely been insane seeing everything that has just transpired over this last week, and it just gets better and better as time goes on. I actually decided to look into what happened on Raw, and I was very frankly happy with everything that went down. That's really weird for somebody, even me, to actually say that, because the fact is that I actually sworn off of Raw for so long that now I'm actually really excited to talk about Raw, because they actually had a very good show. So we'll get into that. We'll get into so many other things. So I definitely do want to do a major shout out to Leva Bates once again, who just always finds a way to give back to the fans that she obviously appreciates so much. And this past weekend was a bit of a rough weekend for me, because the fact was that, this was rough, because I had a situation where I got stood up not once, but twice for a date. Well, a date and also a meetup, but it's just one of those things where it just absolutely sucks. So one of the things that I have been really appreciating is the support and the love that I got from so many people. So for everybody that's just been so good and just given me so much words of encouragement, as well as just been there for me I want to thank you guys so much for that. It means the world to me. And this was another situation where, honestly, when I posted this question to her, I did not expect her to even respond. I said to her, hey, at Wrestling Leave Up, say you had a friend who got stood up twice in one day. What advice could you give them? Or what would you do to help them cope with the rejection? In all honesty, this was one of those things where I would have thought that I would have either been blocked by Leva, or I would have just been that person who just probably wouldn't hear from her again. But then I got a really good response from her. She said, you got to remember, it's them, not you. Something might not be sitting 100% with them, and the rule is that you can't make someone else happy if you can't find it within yourself. Probably absolutely nothing you could have done to change things. You probably dodged a bullet. Well, that would probably be 2 bullets in this case. So, Leva Bates, thank you so much for the words of advice, for the words of encouragement. This is just literally one of those things where I love talking to everybody in the wrestling family, because they can give their opinions about what they feel about certain parts of wrestling, but they can also give really good life advice. So thank you guys again so much for your time and for putting up with everything that I've had to put up with for so long. So now we go from that to the crazy. Well, you know what? I have to actually talk about this, because even though he's not here, Mr. Fretz definitely was going to have a presence in this show. And one thing I definitely do want to do is give a shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs, who recently became the Super Bowl champions of the world. They came up with a huge comeback victory. In all honesty, I thought that at the fourth quarter, with a few minutes left, they were done. But they proved me wrong, and they proved a lot of people wrong. It was just absolutely amazing. So, Kansas City Chiefs, congratulations on your, absolutely just really great, victory over the 49ers. That's just absolutely awesome. So, shout out to them. And again, this is not going to be the last you're going to be hearing of the one and only Mr. Fretz. So let's get into talking some wrestling news, guys. So Mike and Maria Kanellis have had their second-born child. Oh my gosh. Carver Mars Bennett arrived on February 3rd at 3:07 p.m., 8 pounds and 20 and a half inches. Oh my gosh, he is just absolutely adorable. I just look at that and I think to myself, wow, now they're going to be two-time parents, because of course they have their firstborn daughter, and also they now have a boy here. So it's kind of going to be one of those things where you definitely could see the two of them having, maybe there's like a mama-daughter time, papa-son time, all that kind of stuff. So congratulations to the Bennett family on welcoming a new addition to your family. That is just absolutely wonderful news. The miracle of life. It's just great. In other news, guys, in WWE, they actually signed 2 superstars to contracts, Timothy Thatcher as well as Killer Cross. Now, for those of you that know, over last year, I actually got the chance to meet Killer Cross twice, and I've definitely told him the fact that he is going to be a future star. And in all honesty, I was expecting him to go to AEW, but when I heard the news that he signed with WWE, all I thought to myself was, oh man, I'm looking forward to seeing him in NXT, because if they put him in the main roster, it's going to be absolutely horrible. But Timothy Cross, congratulations on this huge career step. And hey, we get the reuniting couple of Scarlett Bordeaux and Killer Cross. They are back together again. I honestly thought Cross was going to go to AEW, Scarlett Bordeaux was going to be in NXT. It was going to be one of those things where it'd probably be like the Adam Cole, Britt Baker effect. But gladly and very happy to see that they are back together. They are reunited, and it feels so good. Just absolutely awesome. What is also awesome is the fact that Ms. and Mrs. are back on the USA Network for Season 2. I just got done watching Episode 1 and 2. First one was actually talking about Monroe's first birthday, as well as tying in WrestleMania. That is one of those episodes where it's very interesting, because you have them try to set up this party for Monroe, and Miz just says, "Oh, you have $500. There's no way you can, break even, if even go over that $500 deal." And what's funny about this is that Maurice is just finding ways to get stuff for free. She's doing like the thrift store effect where she's being like, I kind of would like this for free. Could I maybe just do like, a sponsorship or just like social media and stuff like that? She gets up for a cake, and then they get to like this play place, and they actually got that for free, but that was only because the Miz, the actual character Miz, made an appearance at that and at Monroe's party. This was just a fun episode, and you even got to see a little bit of Elias in this. That was just, oh my gosh, I can't believe Elias is even a part of that. That was just hilarious. It was a great episode to first start off. The second one had the whole deal where they moved back to LA from Austin, Texas. So they're basically, doing that. And Miz and Maurice are not being very, 100% honest with each other. And they find themselves, Maurice is just basically trying to find, a preschool for Monroe. But also, Miz is lying about the fact that he's playing golf on Pebble Beach. So we see just this very unique dynamic between the two of them, because they're basically trying to hide what they did, but they're also getting... I will say this, that when Maurice finds out about the whole deal with the Miz being a part of the Pebble Beach golfing deal, that was funny, because he gets back at him in the best way possible, because Mike's mom has these dolls. And this is not like one of those, cute little, Barbie and Ken dolls. No, these are like the dolls that literally will stare freaking holes into your soul. That kind of creepy. And she puts those dolls in Mike's workout area. So she puts it very, very poetically that she can now look at herself and it'll feel like, there's all these eyes just watching him. So freaking hilarious. So definitely, if you guys haven't gotten a chance to watch The Miz and Mrs., it is hilarious. And I think to myself, why is it that when it comes to this type of reality show, I'm very entertained, but I can't watch shows like Total Divas, Total Bellas, Keeping Up with Kardashians, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's because of the fact that Miz is such a relatable character on this show that it definitely feels like it's something for the whole family. Maybe that's the reason why. Unlike, a lot of them, there's some parts of it where it's just cringeworthy, or it's just one of those things where it's like, no, I'm not really high on this kind of deal. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I'll never watch Total Divas or Total Bellas again, because maybe that's more just for the female demographic. And it's kind of funny because I will be talking about the Bellas in just a bit, because those wrestling girls did a retrospective on them, but I will talk about that in just a bit. But another awesome piece of news that was brought up to me by Mr. Fretz, Wrestle Talk had a bit of a very interesting episode where they talked about Raw, they talked about some things that were going on in wrestling, and the weird thing was that their Raw show this past week was one of the lowest rated non-holiday shows since 2017, I believe, which is weird because you're getting kind of what you would want. And to be honest, I will talk a bit about Raw. There's 5 things in there I definitely want to talk about there that really kind of made it something where it's like, wow, this is actually really good. But the big news that came out of Wrestle Talk was the fact that Adam Blampier will be making his return to wrestling YouTube. He will be a part of the Wrestle Talk family. He'll be doing the fantasy bookings. He will do a lot of the probably fantasy warfare with Ollie Davis. For those of you that don't know, he did that with Ollie Davis a couple of weeks ago when they did the Royal Rumble deal. That was just absolutely fun to see that. That was absolutely great. We see the fact that he's bringing back top 10 lists. So it's a really entertaining video. So definitely check that out. And it's really great to see Adam Blampier back again in the wrestling world. Missed the guy. Know that a lot of people will definitely want to bring up the circumstances why he left. But he's brought so much positivity to the wrestling community that it's one of those things that I can forgive for what he did, and I'm also looking forward to seeing what he does with Wrestle Talk. So that was absolutely awesome. All right, so we go into the next segment, which is what did I listen this week? So there would usually be a time where I don't even know where I was going with that. So what did I listen to this week in podcasting or even just YouTube? We'll start off with this one because I did mention the Bellas. I listened to the show, the retrospective on the Bella Twins that the those wrestling girls did, in all honesty, it's an hour-long video, but it's worth the listen because you listen to the fact that they started off as apparently like soccer stars, which I had no idea that was even... I had no idea that they even did that. I never would have guessed that the Bella Twins actually came from like a soccer deal because the way that they were kind of pushed was that they were models. I thought, okay, yeah, they would push it off as models. But the fact that I know that they came from an athletic sport, it's one of the things where it's like, wow, that's new. That probably means that they are definitely very tough, and they truly are. So to hear that, to hear them talk about the title reigns, talking about everything that the Bella Twins had done throughout their career, it's absolutely amazing. It's definitely absolutely worth listening to. So if you get a chance, check out those wrestling girls. Give them a subscribe. Give them a follow on Twitter. Listen to all their shows. It's absolutely great. And I will continue to plug them because they are definitely bringing a different side to the wrestling community. They're definitely highlighting a lot of the women, but that's something that I think people really need, is the fact that this is not just a men-centered sport. Women can actually get involved too, and they can enjoy it, especially if you have women that are just as either relatable or as well liked as the Bella Twins. Now, I will say this, that I've mentioned on the podcast before, that I've had my, I don't know if I would say disagreements with the Bella Twins, but I've had a situation where I literally was scorched by the Bella Army, and I do not want to go down that again. So I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to be buying a Bella Army t-shirt or something like that, but I definitely do have more respect for the careers that they have just brought into the wrestling world as well as what they brought into everyday life. Next up, we had the Ruthless Aggression podcast that I listened to, where they talked about Bad Blood 2003, and my God, I forgot how bad that show was. They mentioned that this was the first show that they talked about that was just so bad, because every other show that they mentioned was either doing relatively good or it was really good. They talk about Bad Blood saying this is probably the first bad show that we've ever covered, and I almost forgot about so much of the things that happened during that. I mean, La Resistance versus RVD and Kane. You had the whole Scott Steiner test situation, the redneck triathlon. Oh, jeez, Louise, that was bad. And hey, how about the main event? Kevin Nash versus Triple H. Wasn't that a barn burner? The only thing that saved that matchup was Mick Foley, let's face it. And the hype package that you have where Mick Foley is basically saying, I only need to be there to count the three, that was great. Match itself just stunk. It sucked. It was bad. Another show that I listened to is, of course, The Rant. These guys talk a lot about... They talked a lot about sports, and they talked a lot about the effects that, of course, the whole deal with Kobe Bryant had affected them. They even go into talking about the Mighty Ducks series that might be coming in on Disney+. So, definitely a really good show to listen into. You also get to hear a little bit... You get more layers to Brad's character as you find out that he is into some really, really weird stuff. I'm not talking about like sexual stuff or stuff like that. It's one of those things where it's like he finds weird things to be either hilarious or just really enjoyable to him. It's interesting, to say the least. And then finally, the other show that I got the chance to listen to was the Movie Men podcast. The one reason why I listened to this was because they were talking about Homeward Bound. As soon as I saw that, I thought, okay, let's hear how two full-grown men can get through this, because I dubbed this movie as the one movie that will make any adult cry. And I'm right. I cannot watch the last 4 minutes of that movie and not get choked up or not bawl. It is one of those movies that just hits home, because you know the struggles that these pets have gone through. You know all the trials, tribulations, everything that they had to get to where they were. And just that final moment where they are just all reunited, it's just absolutely fantastic. Also, I didn't realize that they played that song, that I didn't know that they played that 16 times. But the way that they did it was that they had it either sped up, happy moments, sad moments. They had these moments where they just made it all work. It was great. I never really knew that. So definitely, shout out to Brady. Shout out to Pete. You guys are absolutely awesome. And it's a hard movie to get through, trust me. I think they even mentioned there were a couple of spots where they just choked up, even though it wasn't like the end of the movie. So if you want to definitely get something that will choke you up and get you all having the feels, definitely check out Homeward Bound. All right. So now we get into some more wrestling deals, you guys. Talking about Monday Night Raw, and then I'll go into a commercial break. Some of the highlights from Monday Night Raw. First off is that Ricochet will be challenging Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at Super Showdown. Now, this is something that legitimately shocked me because I didn't expect Ricochet to get a WWE Championship match. I don't want to be the person to say it, but I am. I didn't expect him to get a WWE Championship match, period. This is a guy who I look at, and Vince McMahon will probably be like, well, he's a small man, damn it, so there's no money made in this, without realizing the fact that he was a guy known as Puma, then he went on to be Prince Puma in Lucha Underground. In the independent scene, he went on to be King Ricochet. Everybody loved everything that he did. In NXT, he became the second North American champion. He became the winner of the Dusty Rhodes Classic with Aleister Black. They turned out to be a really fantastic tag team. I was not expecting that to happen at all, but they did, and it was great. And to have him have two, I believe it was. I think he got 2 reigns as United States champion in 2019. I was thinking, okay, so he's getting championship. Okay, this is good. But to have him win the triple threat match between him, Bobby Lashley, and Seth Rollins, that was a great moment. So I know he's not winning the WWE Championship at Super Showdown. He may never win the WWE Championship, but I am literally going to enjoy this matchup and think of the fact that this is a guy who has busted his ass and who has just created memorable moment after memorable moment, and he's going to create another one here. I think he's definitely going to give Brock Lesnar a run for his money. Now, if he wins the title, that's going to be a shock, but the main money matchup here is going to be Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre, who I will get into in just a bit. It is just really awesome to see that. I mean, Drew McIntyre is going to WrestleMania. Ricochet is getting a shot at the WWE Championship. This is a good day to be a wrestling fan. So we had a surprise return this past week after Liv Morgan defeated Lana for the second time. The return of the head honcho of the Riot Squad, Ruby Riott, made her return to the main roster, and she's sporting a greenish hair, which I look at, I think to myself, it's kind of a new look for her. This is kind of cool to see her back, to see her seemingly team up with Liv Morgan again. Nope, not the case. We see Ruby Riott attack Liv Morgan, beat her down. Lana gets that, ravishing facebuster, whatever she wants to call that maneuver on it. And it looks like we're getting a Liv Morgan versus Ruby Riott feud down the road. So there's a lot of people that are saying that Ruby Riott is going to get tied into this whole Liv Morgan-Lana deal, and it's going to suck, it's going to be horrible, and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I don't necessarily think that. I think that Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan are going to have a feud of their own. I think that they are going to be battling against each other. It's not going to be a situation, they might just reference the whole deal where it's like, well, you had this whole deal with Lana, and blah, 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 or something like that. But I'm very curious to hear the motives behind Ruby Riott's attack on Monday. So it's going to be very interesting to hear what her motives are for. But I know that as soon as Ruby Riott was on the screen, that a certain King Ricky was thinking, wrestling boner. Oh, baby. So that was just awesome to see her back. So Charlotte comes out, and she's basically talking about how she already beat Bayley, she already beat Becky, so what is there for her to do? Out comes Rhea Ripley, who basically challenges Charlotte for her championship, and Charlotte just walks out of the ring, not saying anything. So this is obviously getting billed to a matchup between the two of them at WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to that. And they do actually have a nice deal on NXT, which I'm going to get into that right now. So basically what happened was that Bianca Belair, she's coming out. She basically tries to move Charlotte out of the picture and basically say, it's about me and Rhea Ripley. Charlotte comes out and she's basically just telling Bianca, you need to back away because this does not involve you. And she even soaks in the fact that, NXT crowd is just happy to see her. She even said, I love a good NXT. Woo! Rhea Ripley comes out. They have a little bit of a face-off. And one of the best things that I've ever seen was that Bianca Belair, she gets in between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. And Charlotte just takes her hand, puts it on Bianca's face, and just slowly pushes her out of the deal. She does that twice, and it is just so freaking funny seeing Bianca's reaction where she's like, oh, hell no, this girl's going to go down. She is going to get her ass kicked. And I also loved Rhea Ripley's passion in her promo where she says, hey, I went on Raw and I didn't disrespect any of your members. You don't do that. You show the same respect that I gave you. And you have to remember that there is a saying here, and that is, we are NXT. And both Bianca and Rhea actually did this like electric chair face buster to Charlotte, which I thought they were just going to do an regular electric chair, which I think would have been better. But they just did that, basically just established saying, hey, you don't come into our house and disrespect us. Otherwise, you're getting your ass kicked. That was awesome. And ended with a face-off between Bianca and Rhea. I'm looking forward to NXT TakeOver Portland. That's going to be an awesome deal. That's going to be awesome. Getting back to talking about Raw, Angel Garza made his debut on Raw and teamed up with Zelina Vega, kind of as an associate from what I'm understanding. And on all honesty, it's interesting because they have this deal where they mentioned that, he's the cousin to Humberto Carrillo, and he actually got taken out by Angel Garza, had a great matchup with Rey Mysterio, and we'll get into talking to him. Well, you know what? Let's talk about him right now. He had a great matchup with Isaiah Swerve. I got to get the name right, otherwise something will happen. Isaiah Swerve Scott. That was just fantastic between the two of them. And after he defeated Isaiah Scott, he mentions the fact that he was never beaten for the Cruiserweight Championship, and he wants his rematch for the title. So it's going to be interesting to see how Angel Garza fits in with the Cruiserweight division scene, as well as the main roster scene. Because I think that Angel Garza is going to be sticking around on the main roster until Andrade comes back. And in all honesty, I think this could evolve into something even better. I would actually love to see Zelina Vega leading this Latin American faction. I mean, we have Angel Garza, we have Andrade Cien Almas. There's got to be something more that they can add to this. There's got to be other people that they can kind of add on to this. I would love to see Grand Metalik get involved with this. This is a guy who was the runner-up in the Cruiserweight Classic, and he's just been kind of an afterthought for a while, so I think he could be a great fit for that, where he could basically talk about how, again, people have been overlooking me, but I'm definitely one of the best athletes on the roster today. Just building that kind of up. Anybody else there? Maybe they have Humberto turn heel. I don't see that really happening because I think that they are definitely going to have the feud with Humberto as well as Rey Mysterio. But there's a lot of potential there, and I would still love to see a faction like that kind of happen. That would just be absolutely great. But we'll see what happens on Raw. Orton, he kicked off Raw with one of the most heat-filled segments probably since the Roman Reigns segment after WrestleMania 33, where he said nothing. He was just letting the fans boo. He put the microphone down. He picks it back up, and then Roman just only says one phrase, and that was this: "This is my yard now," and that was it. That was kind of the same thing that we had with Randy Orton, where he tried so hard to even say something, but fans are just not letting him have it. It looked like he was getting kind of emotional. It's really interesting. You just kind of watch this, and it's like, well, are we going to get an explanation? And all Randy Orton says is, I can't do this. He puts the microphone down and he leaves. Doesn't give an explanation. So we may get an explanation next week, or maybe not. It's kind of interesting because you don't know what his actions, why he did that. It's one of those things where we're getting, Dick Randy Orton, which a lot of people really love. The fact that he's the Viper. He's literally the most vindictive guy in wrestling today. So we're going to have to wait and see what kind of happens with... We'll see what kind of happens with this, because I know that they're going to build up a Randy Orton versus Edge match. Now, whether that happens at Super Showdown or at WrestleMania, that'll be yet to be seen. I could even see it happening at Elimination Chamber. I'm just hoping that it doesn't end like their last big-time pay-per-view match, which I think that was her last one. But the matchup was interesting because it was during that matchup that Randy Orton, his arm kind of gave out on him, so he was kind of wrestling with a limp arm, and they had to call for a no contest between the two of them. So let's hope that doesn't happen again, because that would just suck. All right, final thing we'll talk about with Raw is the fact that Drew McIntyre is legit one of the best things that Monday Night Raw that Monday Night Raw has had. And you can fight me on this, but this moment that he had on Raw was amazing. He cuts a promo about Brock Lesnar. He talks about winning the WWE Championship. And one thing that he said to Mojo Rawley, he says, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do my thing, and then I'm going to set the mic down, and then 3 seconds, I'm going to Claymore your head off. So he cuts this promo, like I said. Then he tells the referee, it's time to go. Throws the mic out of the ring. As soon as you hear the from the microphone hitting the ground, people are already counting 1, 2, 3. And at that moment, he already claymored Mojo Rawley. This segment was done perfectly. There was no way that they could have done it any better. I just was absolutely blown away by that. And I think that if it had gone a second sooner, people would have hated it. But just how it went to, mic drop, Claymore, 3 seconds later, 1, 2, 3, that's it. That was just fan-freaking-tastic. And I will also say this, if you get a chance to, definitely check out the backstage, the backstage segment that he did for WWE Backstage, where he's answering all these fans' questions, talking about fitness routines. He's talking about who his role models were doing, his people he would love to team with, people who he'd love to face. And one question that he has gotten frequently, and I will never ask this after listening to this, because he says, "Oh gosh, people ask me this all the time," and it's one of those things where I understand because people love this thing. He got asked a question: would he bring back the Broken Dreams theme song for WrestleMania? Now, when he said just for WrestleMania, he was a little more open to that. But one of the reasons why he's not bringing back the Broken Dreams theme song is the fact that he said it doesn't fit his character. He definitely feels like it's different from what his character is now. And back then it was kind of slower. It was definitely a little more not really his style now. But he is kind of open to the idea of having that be a part of his WrestleMania theme. So fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen, that we get that at WrestleMania. But I'm also not going to hold my breath on this because I don't think Vince McMahon sees any money in it. But I would still love to hear that as kind of like the opening theme song to when he comes out. And then he can go into his theme song there. Just a way for us to remember the fact that he had came so far since then. and he has definitely turned into the star that he believed he could be right now. That was just great. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Wednesday Night Wars, as well as talking about ACW Wisconsin. They are having a show this weekend. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I'm going to give a little more details about that in just a bit, so stay tuned. Be right back.
This is your pool party captain, Randy Fitzsimmons, and you're listening to the Game Changer Podcast. Pew, pew!
Let's face it, folks. I can be in some better shape, and this year, I'm going to make a commitment to it. My name is King Ricky Rose, General Manager of Wrestle Addict Radio, and I want you guys to join our Patreon and follow me and my fellow constituents on our journey into better mental and, more importantly, better physical health. Join us in our journey to get back into ring shape, where each episode we will tell you about our progress on the matter and what a ring shape really means to us. So join patreon.com/Wrestle Addict Radio, click subscribe, and just for $5 a month, you can follow our journey as we get back into ring shape. Now enjoy the rest of your show.
What's going on, everybody? Do you remember the Monday Night Wars? The quote-unquote greatest time in wrestling? Well, was it? Because this is Wrestle Wars, and in Wrestle Wars, Willie T, T as in Thomas, ARASHUK, goes down and breaks down week by week, month by month, pay-per-view by pay-per-view, every year of the fabled Monday Night War. I was right. WWF versus WCW with the sprinkled in ECW, starting in January of 1996 all the way up to March of 2001. You will get a month-by-month breakdown of who won the Monday Night Wars. What you can expect from this show. Monthly scoring system. You got the mid-card, undercard, and main event. So who is actually going to win the Monday Night Wars? You have to listen and find out on our $5 Patreon page. It's only $5, guys. You can watch along with me, Willie T, and enjoy the chaos that is the Monday Night Wars on Wrestle Wars.
What's going on, guys? This is Zach, your host of the Young Lions Perspective Podcast, and you are listening to the Game Changer Podcast on Wrestle Addict Radio.
Honestly, guys, after this Wednesday, I do not want to hear anybody questioning the passion that Cody has for the business. Welcome back to the Game Changer Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, a part of Wrestle Addict Radio. I am your host, NateFNGreat. Honestly, AEW final segments, final bit of their show, it was something. It was absolutely insane what they did. And I'm going to talk about that in just a bit. So, AEW kicked off with Moxley versus Ortiz. Really good matchup. Chris Jericho on freaking commentary. Are you kidding me? Just continue to be absolutely amazing, Jericho. Just continue to do it. I can't think of anybody else who could be a better commentator, be a better heel than Jericho right now. The champion. Just, this is great. But Moxley defeated Ortiz in the middle of the ring, and to kind of add a little more spice to this rivalry, Moxley grabs the key from his new Ford GTX, I believe it is, and he actually stabs Santana in the eye with it, making it an eye for an eye situation. So much so that next week Santana actually said that it is going to be an eye for an eye between him and Moxley. Oh gosh, that's going to be an awesome matchup. In another match, we have SCU defeating Best Friends in what was a great matchup. And we also saw the Dark Order. They came in, they got involved, they beat up everybody, including Orange Cassidy, which I know put a big old smile on Fretz's face. Daniels came out, and then the Dark Order's just like, let's go. We're fine. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. We had Britt Baker versus the quote-unquote debuting, AEW debuting, Yuka Sakazaki. Really good matchup between the two of them, and I also forgot how Yuka just had this look where she calls herself the magical girl, and basically you had Jim Ross having to be explained the fact that, well, she likes the Arabian Nights, and she likes this whole deal where she just likes dressing up like that. So they had that deal. Yuka actually pinned Brittany with a bit of a crucifix pin combination, wins the matchup. Then Britt Baker just beats down on Yuka and has her bite the bottom rope and just stomp on her head. To which Yuka is just holding her mouth, it's bleeding, and then she puts her hand down. The camera sees what looks like a tooth that fell out. And all I thought to myself was, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because now she's kind of living up to being a dentist, and she's living up to kind of being that heel dentist that everybody did. Jason Salamonster said it best. She's a dentist. Nobody likes going to the dentist. So she's embracing the heel deal. It's absolutely great. I love so many things that Britt Baker was doing either during the match or before the match, where she's literally just hamming it up to so many of the people. Just anytime that she's getting insulted, she's just going like, "Oh, well, thank you, and I'm just like, what is with you, woman? What's going on? Okay, I love this. Never mind, I love this. This is awesome. It was just, oh my gosh, this was just absolutely great. We had the Lucha Bros, Butcher and Blade and the Bunny defeating Elite, defeating the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page, which was a bit of a shock to me. I was not expecting that to really happen. I legitimately thought to myself, well, this is probably going to be a matchup where these guys are going to probably give the Elite's probably going to give them a really good run, and they're probably going to take. But no, the Lucha Bros pinned Hangman Page with the package piledriver stomp combo. I was not expecting that. That was just insane. It's just crazy to think that really happened. But you know something? For those that are saying Elites make it all about themselves. Well, first of all, it is All Elite Wrestling for a reason. But they've really not been featured as prominently in storylines as you would think. And I think it's not until now that we're getting probably Hangman Page, and I think it's going to be Hangman Page as well as Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks later on. To be honest, it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to happen even at Revolution. We could see that, but we'll find out in a couple weeks. I'll get into that in just a bit. So Pac is basically on the screen as Kenny Omega is about to get interviewed, and he's basically making this threat where it seems like he's going to attack Rio, but Kenny Omega says, okay, fine. You want your rematch? You got your rematch. And then Pac, just being the bastard that he is, says, if you really think that I was going to hit a woman, come on. You have to realize that I'm not a monster, but she is. Nyla Rose comes in, power bombs Rio through a table, and basically says, I'm coming for your championship. They make that matchup for next week. Then we get one of the coolest segments that I absolutely loved in this entire show. Okay, this is the second best set. This was the second segment that I loved. Darby Allin, he's literally coughing. And then we see the cutout of Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho hugging each other. Darby Allin takes a blowtorch and just burns it. Darby Allin can do no wrong to me. That was just amazing. And I will also say this, that one thing that was also really cool is one of my friends, Alex, she posted up on her Facebook a picture of Darby Allin where she says, so dreamy, 16 more sleeps. And she's referring to the fact that she will be going with me to AEW Revolution, and Darby Allin will more than likely be a part of the show. If he's not, I'm going to be shocked. I will be legit shocked. Kip Sabian defeated Joey Janela in a pretty good one-on-one matchup. They had the whole deal with Santana wanting Moxley. I'm going to get into this first before I get into the main event segment. So next week on AEW, they do have Moxley versus Santana one-on-one. They have the women's title matchup, Nyla Rose versus Rio. Tag team title matchup featuring Kenny Omega and Hangman Page taking on SCU. And then they actually went into like the whole month's worth. They went into the fact that in 2 weeks they'll have a tag team battle royal for the number one contendership shot at AEW Revolution. Then they talk about the cage match between Cody and Wardlow. And then in 3 weeks' time, a 30-minute Iron Man match between Pac and Kenny Omega. So they have literally laid out the landscape of what it's going to be like, build up all the way to AEW Revolution. And I am loving it. I am absolutely loving it. All right, getting into the main event segment, in which we have MJF giving 10 lashes to Cody Rhodes. This was, in all honesty, one of the most brutal and emotionally driven segments in all of AEW. And that's saying a lot. I mean, some people will definitely argue with me that the whole Cody-Dustin deal at Double or Nothing, which they have also announced, will be taking place on Labor Day weekend, I believe. No, it's Memorial Day weekend. There we go. Will be taking place on Memorial Day weekend, and tickets will be on sale next week during Valentine's Day. But during this whole deal, we just see one lash after another and another. And you just look at how Cody's back is just turning all these different colors, and they add layers to it. They have Arn Anderson come out. He basically says, do not give him the satisfaction. You got this. After 5 lashes, Dustin comes out, and he says, hey, give them to me. I will take the rest of them. To which MJF is like, screw you. That's not how this works. And Cody basically reassures Dustin, I got this. It's going to be fine. 7 lashes take place. We see the Young Bucks come out. They are basically reassuring him, hey, dude, you got this. You're almost there. You just got to handle 3 more lashes. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. He comes in, 8 lash, hit the 8 lash. Just as he's about to go for number 9, Wardlow grabs the belt. He says, let me do it. Dustin is saying that's not part of the deal. Cody's just like, I don't care. Hit me. Wardlow with this brutal lash to the back. And I'll tell you this right now, it really started hitting me on that one. It's like he's only got 1 more lash, but that is still just absolutely rough just to watch that. And then I actually teared, started falling from my face as Brandy comes out. And she's telling Cody, I love you. You can do this. You just got 1 more lash, and then you got it. She's literally showing so much support for Cody, and you just look on the pain on Cody's face, and he's realizing, okay, I can do this. Final lash right to the front of the chest. Still a brutal spot. He falls. Everybody's checking on him, and MJF is literally just like, damn it, I can't break this guy. I don't want to have. It's like he doesn't want to have this match with him. What a shock. MJF gets a low blow. He basically leaves the area, and even a fan tries to attack him, which, to be fair, he brought that on himself. Let's be honest. This is a guy who literally went on Busted Open Radio, called out one of the hosts, said that he was literally going to whip Cody and then make love to his wife. Not Cody's wife, the co-host. And he actually said to the Alabama crowd, hey, jump the guardrail. Come try to beat the shit out of me. See what happens. So he brought that on himself. But this was just an absolutely insane segment. It was emotionally driven. It was everything that I expected, and even then some. It was just absolutely, like I say, it was emotionally driven. I think that's what makes AEW just a great product, is the fact that they're showing that. And it also shows that Cody is dedicated to bringing the best into AEW. And he's definitely showing that he is willing to do anything to show that he's passionate about wrestling. He's passionate about AEW. So for that, Cody, thank you so much for giving everything that you've given. And looking forward to seeing you in Chicago in just a few weeks. MJF, just remember what I said on Twitter. If he can handle 10 lashes, what do you think is going to take him down come AEW Revolution? That's the question. So we go from this to NXT. Dunn and Riddle, they talk about their win. They talk about how they are going to be dethroning the Undisputed Era for the Undisputed Era for the tag team titles. Undisputed Era, they come out, they're ready to fight, but Roderick Strong's like, no, we got other businesses to attend to, meaning that they want to find Tommaso Ciampa and basically take him out so that way he can't go to Portland. And this is, oh yeah. So in my notes, I have Dunn and Riddle talk win and so many bros. And then the next one is read to puns. Meaning read the puns that Mr. Fretz wants me to read this. So this was something that I was cringing at. I was not very big on this, but gotta say it. Gotta say it because, this is something for the entertainment value. So, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, they came out on the Bromobile, which, my God, just, no, I hate so many things, no. Then, we hear the first pun that I read is what Matt Riddle said, where he says, how much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? It's a thing now. Damn it all. And Mr. Fretz, he had another pun where Matt Riddle says, riddle me this, fish. Pete Dunne says, are you done? Spelled D-U-N-N-E. My tolerance for these puns are running very low. I just needed to read those. I should be fine. Maybe. Never mind. I don't think I'll be fine. I'm just... That was tough for me to get through. I talked about the Angel Garza deal where he defeated Isaiah Swerve Scott. There's a lot of segments during the show where Undisputed Era is looking for Tommaso Ciampa. They're beating down a couple people. They beat down Kushida in one of these backstage segments. I was surprised that Alex Shelley was not there. There's one part of this that was just absolutely hilarious, where Undisputed Era, they are looking for him. They talk to this guy, and this guy just goes, I'm just getting a haircut, man. It's like, aw, well, just leave him alone. And all I thought to myself was, wait a minute. Because as soon as Roderick Strong goes back, I'm like, no, the dude's just trying to get a haircut. Roderick Strong, he's like, oh yeah, no, you're doing a good job with this haircut, but I think you missed right here. He shaves like 2 strands in the front of his hair. And all I thought to myself is, damn it, the dude just wanted to get a haircut. Leave him alone. Just, oh, man, I was bummed. I was like, damn it, this dude was, all he was doing was just getting a haircut backstage. Just let him live his life. Dominic Dijakovic defeated Killian Dane. It was a very physical matchup, but it definitely gives Dijakovic momentum going into his match with Keith Lee for the North American title. Now, I'm not sure that this is where it ended up, but I'm going to say it anyway. Gargano and Balor, they had a sit-down deal, the side-by-side deal where they're talking about Portland. This is a really good interview. This was a really good segment where Gargano, he talks about the fact that, for 3 months, I thought about you dropping me on my head. For 3 months, I've been waiting for this moment, and it's going to happen at TakeOver Portland. And he even talks about how he wants to fight the Finn Balor of NXT. He wants to fight the guy who is literally being the most, physical, being the most focused that he's ever been. Not the guy who lost to Bobby Lashley on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown 17 weeks in a row. When he said that, I'm like, oh, snap. And there were even people that are like, oh, jeez. I thought to myself, oh, this is getting good. And Finn Balor just says, you're going to wish that you were facing that guy. To which I'm just like, oh, boy, this is going to be good. Because Finn Balor does not care about match of the night. He just wants to ensure that all eyes are on him. Because that's what really matters. The Prince is going to fight Johnny Gargano, and I am looking forward to that. That is going to be an awesome matchup. Oh, man. Mercedes Martinez defeated Casey Catanzaro, which was a really good matchup between the two of them. I'm hoping that Casey gets more exposure and she gets into the title picture more, hopefully. But it's also really great to see Martinez back. Oh gosh, it's just great. It's just one of those things that puts a huge smile on my face. I talked about the whole deal where they had a brawl breakout and then they decided to have a 6-man tag, which, trust me, that's going to be awesome to talk about. Jordan Devlin defeated Tyler Breeze in what was a very good matchup. And also, shout out to Kate Murphy, because I understand why you keep calling him Daddy Devlin. He's great. He is absolutely great. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. We had the Charlotte Bianca Rhea segment, which I mentioned earlier. Then we had Ciampa and the Broserweights defeating the Undisputed Era by disqualification when Roderick Strong got involved. But it just got better. As they were beaten down, the Broserweights, as they were beaten down Undisputed Era, the Tehran holds up this deal where they had the three circles deal where it was 2, 5, 20. Then one circle goes up. It kind of looks like a triangle. Then it changes from this black screen to a purple screen. And it's a beautiful picture of, you guessed it, Velveteen Dream. The Dream is back. He beat down Undisputed Era, super kicking everybody. And I'm going to say this right now. His tights looked absolutely phenomenal. And the fact that he did the whole Rick Rude deal just says to me, oh my God, he is going for Roderick Strong. And he's going to basically taunt him using that deal where his wife and his son are on his tights. Oh my gosh, it was great. And for so long, so many people were saying, Velveteen Dream's coming here, Velveteen Dream's coming here. And we never really got that. We never really got Velveteen Dream coming back until this night. And to be honest, it was worth the wait. Velveteen Dream is back, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. I can tell. Roderick Strong versus Velveteen Dream is happening in TakeOver. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be amazing. They also announced on the show that Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai will be battling against each other in a street fight at TakeOver Portland. That's going to be intense. That's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to this matchup. It's going to be awesome. All right, so going to go into some quick results about AEW Dark, and then we'll go into another commercial break. This is my first time watching AEW Dark, and in all honesty, I was not disappointed. I absolutely loved this matchup. We had Jurassic Express, Marco Stunt, and Jungle Boy defeating Brandon Cutler and Sonny Kiss. Really good matchup between the two of them. Hikaru Shida defeating Mel. After the matchup, Mel and Luther beat down Kong. Now, the story behind this is that Kong is going to be written off of TV, so that way she can continue working on the Glow series, which in all honesty is absolutely awesome. And I do believe that this is going to be the final season of Glow, if I'm not mistaken. Which, to be honest, I'm okay with that, because I think they've done 2-3 seasons right now. So I think that 4 seasons would be a very fair number for that. it only got better and better as time went on, so it's going to be great. So that's the reason why Khan got written off. Had Kenny Omega and Rio defeating Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. And the thing about this is that this is a matchup that was recorded on the Jericho Cruise. And to be honest, it actually displayed intergender wrestling pretty well. It was very well done. It wasn't one of those things where the men got too physical with the women and vice versa. It was a very well-balanced matchup between these guys. So I definitely give them applaud. I give them a nice rounding applause for that. It was great. So if you get a chance, definitely check out that matchup. It's awesome. Main event was the Best Friends defeating Shawn Spears and the returning Colin Delaney. Colin Delaney, of all people, was Shawn Spears' partner for this. And Colin did great. For a guy that I remember being literally just everybody's whooping boy in the WWE ECW, he was the guy who really kind of shone in this matchup. So it was really great to see that. There was also a moment during the matchup where Orange Cassidy and Tully Blanchard, they did the whole deal where they stuck their hands in their pockets, and then Orange Cassidy did his 2 roundhouse kicks, and he was looking to do a super kick, but then Shawn Spears is like, nope, eat shit, beats down Orange Cassidy, but in the end, like I said, Best Friends pick up the victory. Oh, man. It was a great week for wrestling. Absolutely loved it. So, going to take another quick commercial break, and then when we come back, to be talking about ACW Wisconsin, as well as my game changer of the week. So stay tuned, guys. We will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coda Jacobs, the Crusader and visionary behind a brighter future in wrestling. If you're an honorable and noble public servant like myself, you are listening to the Game Changer Podcast.
What is up, peeps? This is Mr. Fretz from the Game Changer Podcast, here to tell you about my new show called the 20 Bell Salute. It is a monthly 20-year look back on not only WWE pay-per-views, but also movies, music, TV, video games, and so much more. You can find this and many other exclusive shows on the Wrestle Addict Radio Patreon for only $5 a month. So join the fam and keep wrestling real.
Hey guys, this is NateFNGreat. Hey, have you ever wanted to be a champion but can't seem to really find the money and the time to get a championship belt? Well, you know who's a really good friend of mine? AJ from AJsBelts.com. These guys have a large assortment of championship belts, from classic belts to the modern day belts to championship belts you would not even believe. And guys, like I said, they work with you very well. With an awesome layaway program, there is no way that you can beat these guys' prices as well as these guys' deals, especially when you can give them a little bit of money every now and then until you can get that championship gold. Coming from a guy who's a champion and a game changer, I'm the NateFNGreat. I'm representing AJsBelts.com, proud friends of the Game Changer Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? This is King Ricky Rose, your general manager of Wrestle Addict Radio and host of Kings of the Rings podcast. And you right now are listening to Nate VicTori and our resident historian, Mr. Fretz, on the Game Changer podcast exclusively on Wrestle Addict Radio.
Welcome back, guys. This is NateFNGreat, your host of the Game Changer podcast. Of course, mentioning that we're a part of Wrestle Addict Radio, definitely check them out on Twitter, Kings of the Rings podcast, as well as the Young Lions Perspective podcast. Check them out. They're absolutely great. I mentioned so many people in this podcasting community that I will always be forever indebted to and grateful for. It is just going to be absolutely awesome continuing to spread the good news about podcasting, as well as professional wrestling, because we do thrive to keep wrestling real. So that's going to bring me into the Game Changer of the week. So we've mentioned quite a few people on here, and I definitely do want to continue to mention as many people as we can, people who have indeed made a difference and who continue to make a difference. And honestly, there was nobody else that I could think that deserved to be the game changer of the week this week than Anthony DiStefano. For those of you that may have not heard for the 1,000th time that Fretz and I have been gushing over this man, Anthony DiStefano is the mastermind behind Wrestle Radio. He was also the godfather of Rant with Ant. This is a guy who, in all honesty, I can definitely say that I didn't know what to expect. When I first started talking with Kings of the Ring, they mentioned Rant with Ant. They mentioned Anthony DiStefano. They mentioned G-Rod. They mentioned Philium. And when I went into StarCast for All Out Weekend, all I thought to myself was, okay, I got to meet these guys, and we'll kind of see, what happens from there. I remember having some great moments in there, but I also remember standing in line, waiting to meet Bully Ray, wearing the Rant with Ant t-shirt that I was wearing, and then these random guys just come up to me. Anthony DiStefano, Philium, G-Rod, they come up. Anthony says to me, hey, great shirt, man. So I remember just giving him high five, the little bro thing. Phil comes up to me, he just gives me a big hug. And it was one of those things where I was very proud to meet them because their podcast was absolutely great. They even got the chance to interview MJF, which, in all honesty, that's just one of those things where some might consider it to be an honor, but others might consider it to be a bit of a hassle, but who knows. So the relationship just continued to grow from there, and it wasn't until, I want to say, Rant Gala that I soon found out the kind of family that I was going to be a part of. And that was just this huge community of great people meeting up with everybody at the Kings of the Rings, whether it was King Ricky, Will, Dusty Dave, Scott, Phil and Ant again, meeting Issa for the first time, meeting up with MJ, meeting up with so many of these great people. Oh my gosh, so many people I met at this deal. And it was just absolutely phenomenal. Just getting the chance to just, we ate some pizza, we got to watch just some absolutely great podcasting, we got to hear their predictions of WrestleMania. I even have a video of me and Ant doing our predictions for WrestleMania, which I think we're still tied right now. He might have already won. Who knows at this point. I will say that this was, again, one of those moments where I started realizing the kind of family that I was going to be a part of. And I honestly didn't know what to really expect after that. Rant with Ant, they slowly closed the chapter of their book. And I just remember King Ricky, who is our general manager of Wrestle Radio, he sent me a message where Ant had some final requests before leaving, and one of those requests was get Game Changer Podcast on Wrestle Radio, get Mr. Fretz on there, and it's been that way for almost a year now. We are just about reaching that point where we are going to be hitting our 1-year anniversary with Wrestle Radio, and every single day I keep telling the guy, I keep telling him I love him, I keep telling him that, I thank you so much for the opportunities that you gave us, because in all honesty, they're continuing to fuel the passion that I would have for podcasting, but also for professional wrestling. And I get the chance to also talk about, not just WWE related stuff, but I can also talk about AEW, and I can also talk about local stuff that's happening right here in Wisconsin. And being the only guy from Wisconsin, it definitely does kind of add a little bit more pressure, but it also gives a little more variety, because I'm not just going to talk about solely WWE stuff or solely AEW stuff. I want to mix everything up, because everything deserves to have a chance. And whether I'm talking about those items, whether I'm talking about ACW, which I will a little later on, whether I'm talking about Frontline Pro, which we will be sponsoring a Frontline Pro show that will be taking place in Stevens Point in April. It's going to be awesome. Mainly because RVD is going to be there. I mean, but also doing sponsorships for for ACW Water City Wrestling Con, we definitely do want to get WrestleAddict Radio known nationwide. We also want them to have, spots in, certain parts of the area. Like there's certain parts in New York, and now WrestleAddict Radio is a thing. Here in Wisconsin, WrestleAddict Radio is going to be part of a thing. In all honesty, it would not have happened without the mastermind that was Anthony DeStefano. So, Ant, love you, brother. Always appreciate everything that you've done, and continue to listen in, because we love your support, and we will always continue to give support for everything that you do. And honestly, I do consider Ant to be one of the greatest human beings that I have ever met. Whether he's doing his podcast, whether he's doing the Rant-A-Claus, whether he's doing these deals with his family, it's just absolutely awesome seeing him living his life to the fullest. And you're not going to meet a more family guy than Ant. He is one of those guys who will always talk about his kids. He'll always talk about his wife, because he definitely does enjoy some of the finer things in life, and nothing could be more finer than being a husband and being a father. So shout out to everybody in the DeStefano family. You guys are loved. You guys are just absolutely lucky to have somebody like Ant in your life. So Anthony, again, thank you for everything that you've done, and thank you so much for giving me the chance. I'm going to continue to make you proud. I'm going to continue to give WrestleAddict Radio the legacy that it deserves. All right, so now we can go on from that mushy stuff, because I know a lot of people really love that. It's not even Valentine's Day yet. So we go from that to ACW Wisconsin. This Sunday, it's going to be Falls Count Anywhere. Like I've mentioned before on the show, I am going to be doing an interview with Raging Nathan Gust, so definitely look out for that. It's going to be a crazy one. I could tell you that right now. He is one of the most unique individuals that you'll ever meet here in Wisconsin, but he's also one of the best individuals you'll meet here in Wisconsin. So definitely looking forward to that. Going over the card, because I also have to do a prediction battle between my friend Joseph, because if he wins, then he's added to the title matchup between myself and his lady Liz. If he loses, then it's just one-on-one, me and him. So starting off, we have Peter Schwanz taking on Kota Jacobs. I am looking forward to this matchup because Pornstash is continuing to be a guy who is just beloved by the fans, and he's just one of those guys who just continues to be an absolute household name. And I'm very, very looking forward to this matchup here. As far as who comes out victorious, because the thing is that Kota Jacobs, the last time Kota Jacobs was at Tanner's, he unsuccessfully cashed in the All-Star Trophy. Peter Schwanz, he had that triple threat, but he also had that matchup against Logan last month. There's a lot to take into this. I'm going to give this one to Kota Jacobs. I think that somehow he's going to find a way to weasel his way into a victory. So I'm giving it to Jacobs for this one. Next up, we have Nick Colucci, taking on Backwoods Brown. Ever since Swoggle turned on Nick Colucci, he has been making Colucci's life a miserable, living, breathing hell. And he recruited Backwoods Brown to kind of be his best friend, and also he's going to be there to punish Nick Colucci. I actually talked to Backwoods, and one of the things I said to him was, just be careful, because that drop kick to the side of the head is going to suck. And he said, I could take shots to the head all day. And all I could think to myself is, oh boy, Colucci, you're in for a fight of your life. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think it's also going to be a very physical matchup. As far as who I think is going to win, I'm giving it to Colucci on this one. I think that he's going to find a way to get the victory and somehow outsmart the big man, Backwoods Brown. Yeah, no, I'm sticking with Colucci on this one. Next up, we have Swoggle taking on Stacy Shadows. I'm looking forward to this match. And I will also say this, that I'm still a little scared because Stacy Shadows was taking on Melina at Water City Wrestling Con in 2 months. So, this is going to be one of those things where I'm just like, oh boy, we got this one happening here. I'm going to give this one to Stacey Shadows. As much as I could see Swoggle picking up the victory here, I think Stacey Shadows needs the momentum going in to Water City Wrestling Con. So I'm giving it to the Shadows. All right, next up we have the Water City Championship as Joey Avalon takes on the former champion Adam Grace, buddy. So obviously with Adam Grace, he lost the championship at the 6th anniversary show to Shane Hills, and then Shane Hills lost it to Seth Gambino, who cashed in the trophy, cashed in the title shot. In January, they had a match because due to unforeseen circumstances, Seth Gambino couldn't be there, so they had to vacate the title. And originally it was supposed to be Shane Hill versus Adam Grace, but then they turned it into a triple threat where Joey Avalon was featured. Joey Avalon picked up the victory, so I'm expecting that this matchup is going to be absolutely insane. But I do not see Joey Avalon dropping the title anytime soon. So, with that being said, I believe that Joey Avalon is going to retain. Next up, there's a matchup that will feature the two greatest players in the club, Players Club, Jay Cash and Big Cat. They will be taking on... Actually, they have not really announced it. So this is going to be kind of interesting. And I'm thinking to myself, who could they take on in this matchup? And in all honesty, there's probably only one team that I would really want to see them face off against, that being Wild and Randy. So I'm predicting that Wild and Randy will be a part of this matchup. They will face off against the Players Club. In the end, though, Players Club is going to pick up the victory. They are just absolutely great, and I think they're going to continue building that momentum going into Water City Wrestling Con. Who knows who they're even going to be fighting. Up next, we have the ACW Heavyweight Championship. Logan Lynch defending it against a mystery opponent. This is a bit of a tougher one because the question is, who would be the right person to have Logan Lynch fight at for this matchup? In all honesty, it might not even be a title match. It might just be a one-on-one match between the two of them. You know what? I'm going to go with Local Dad answers the challenge, but Logan Lynch is still going to pick up the victory. So, yeah, Local Dad comes out. In all honesty, I think you probably could put out a good match with Logan Lynch. You never know. And finally, you guys, the main event that is going to indeed be a barn burner. In all honesty, this has to be the main event. It is Salem Crane versus Nathan Gust in a Falls Count Anywhere matchup. This is going to get physical, and this is going to be absolutely brutal between the two of them. One thing Nathan Gust said was that this rivalry between the two of them, it has to end, and it could very well end here at Tanner's. As far as who's going to pick up the victory, I'm definitely going with the Raging Dead, Nathan Gust. He is going to pick up the victory, and he is going to continue his momentum. On all honesty, I could see him going into a Water City title feud with Joey Avalon after this matchup. I'm just the main thing we have to consider is that hopefully the feud ends after Tanner's, but we'll find out. We'll find out come Sunday. So those have been the matches for the show. Hopefully, for those of you that are going to be in the Oshkosh area, come join us. It's going to be a fun show. First and second rows, though, have indeed been sold out, so I will definitely be one of those people that's in the general admission crowd, but I'll still be a very vocal fan. If you don't like it, well, tough. So, that is the show for Water City Wrestling, not Water City Wrestling Con, ACW Falls Count Anywhere. Very interested in seeing where this goes. So, with that being said, I think I can call it an episode. And guys, you can definitely expect that next week, Mr. Fretz will return on the show. So hopefully you guys have either enjoyed or the fact that you possibly endured the fact that I did this podcast by myself. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for all of your support, not only for personal life, but also for helping us here at Wrestle Addict Radio continue to make things better. And we're still looking to add more people to the show. You can definitely expect something big coming in, possibly before the year's over. But I gotta go. I've enjoyed talking to you guys. You've been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Be sure to check me out on social media at RealFNGame. Mr. Fretz is on his deal at the legendary JF. Be sure to also go to our Patreon for $5 a month. You get the chance to get exclusive access, including next week, you guys. Actually, the 20th of February, I will have my booking of the Divas Revolution. So, that being said, check us out on so many different podcasting formats. And until next time, be the change, because you never know when you'll make a difference. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.